She's crazy.
The first season of Ahsoka was a spaceship lover's paradise. This series had dozens of shots of ships new and old, beautifully rendered in what might be the most cinematic Star Wars show yet. In this week's video, we are going to go over each episode and see what ships are in each one, and maybe learn a little background information on them for context. This is the first episode of a series I have been planning for over a year now, longer than I've even had this channel, so I'm very excited. Be sure to subscribe for future installments, and let's dive right in.
What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality for those who may oppose us.
Episode 1. The first ship we see is a brand new design for this series, sort of. It's based on an old design called the MC-30 frigate that itself is based on unused concept art from Return of the Jedi. This specific ship is named Vesper, but we don't know the class name yet. Approaching the Vesper is our villain's ship, a Clone Wars era Eta-Class ambassador shuttle commonly used by Jedi, or former Jedi in this case. Check out my video on the Eta in the description below. In the Vesper's hangar, we see several T-65 X-Wings and RZ-1 A-Wings. Wouldn't you know it, but I just made a video about the A-Wing too. Small world. Moving to the Nightsister ruins on Arcana, we meet our hero's ship, a T-6 Jedi shuttle also from the Clone Wars. You can expect a full video breakdown about this ship in the coming weeks as well. Ahsoka and Huyang are summoned to the Vesper, where they meet Home 1, the New Republic flagship, which is an MC-80A cruiser. It is accompanied by several X-Wings, with several more in its hangar bay, alongside the Ghost, which is barely visible at the edge of the frame. Later on Lothal, we see a pair of E-Wing escort starfighters. These are a popular, though controversial fighter craft seen in many books and comics in the Legends continuity. While the existence of them has been canonical for several years now, this is our first time seeing them on screen. They pursue Sabine Wren, who rides an Aerotech 614-AVA speeder bike. This bike model was commonly used on Lothal by the Empire, from whom Sabine liberated this particular vehicle. I doubt the Imperials did any sick power slides with it, though. Episode 2. The first ship we see in Episode 2 is Balans' Shuttle, which we get a much better look at. We see Sabine Wren's speeder bike, as well as an unpainted version that Ahsoka rode to Ezra's tower. Perhaps Lothal kept them after the Empire retreated, and rents them out like many cities do e-bikes and scooters. There are several unidentifiable ships flying around the capital of Lothal, and what appears to be a Street Boss 5050 land speeder on a landing pad beneath the hospital. This speeder was first seen on Canto Bight in The Last Jedi. Moving back to Cetos, Morgan Elsbeth arrives in her ship, which I will call the Nightsister Shuttle. We'll see it more clearly later in the video, so I'll save my commentary until then. Meanwhile, our heroes travel to Corellia in Ahsoka's T-6. There are numerous New Republic Vesper-type frigates under construction, being guarded by a CR-90 corvette. Near the planet's surface, barely visible against the backdrop of the city, there are several unnamed passenger liners of the same type we see Cyril use in Andor to go home to Coruscant. This ship was first designed for Solo, a Star Wars story, where it was also seen on Corellia. Below them, we see many Imperial Star Destroyers being dismantled on the ground, surrounded by dozens of unidentifiable transports. Ahsoka lands next to the Phantom II, a modified Sheathipede-class shuttle used by Hera Syndulla to replace the starfighter her ship, the Ghost, was equipped with after it was destroyed. She and Ahsoka take a tour of Morgan Elsbeth's facilities on Corellia aboard an unnamed cargo speeder piloted by an R4 series astromech droid. Ahsoka and Hera pursue a new, unnamed transport ship carrying a hyperdrive core from a super star destroyer. Hera gives chase in the Phantom, while Ahsoka is stopped by Merrak, who is soon rescued from his duel with her by Shin Hati in Balans' Eta-Class shuttle. As they take off, there is a ship in the distance that looks like it could be a Sinar Chal Utilipede transport first seen at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. However, it is too far away to tell for certain. It seems like it might be too big, but the shape is nearly perfect, and I'm not sure what else it could be. There are, of course, also more of the various transports I mentioned when we arrived at this planet. Later, as the administrators of the facility are being arrested, we see several New Republic LAAT-LE police gunships. Finally, the turncoat transport arrives at Cetos, where we get our first look at the megalophobia-inducing Eye of Sion, a hyperdrive ring big enough to fit something very large in the middle. Episode 3. The episode starts on Ahsoka's shuttle en route to Cetos. After a bit of lightsaber training, we cut to the Republic fleet, which consists of 4 RZ-1 A-Wings, at least 5 Vesper-type cruisers, at least 6 Sphyrna-class Hammerhead corvettes, specifically the modified type we see in Rogue One with a 4th engine on its back and 2 weapon pods attached to its docking rings, at least 5 CR-90 corvettes, at least 2 Nebulon B frigates, and of course, the flagship Home 1 Amon Calamari MC-80A cruiser. Back on Ahsoka's shuttle, our other heroes drop out of hyperspace at Cetos and discover the Eye of Sion and its squadron of RP-82 Fiend starfighters. Shin and Merrak fly special squadron leader versions of the ship, which lack the underslung vertical fin of the standard model, and have 2 pods at the wingtips instead. We don't know anything about these yet other than the name and what we can observe about them on screen, but I suspect they must be very inexpensive as they are some of the smallest fighters in all of Star Wars and prove on several occasions to be remarkably ineffective. Morgan Elsbeth should ask for a refund. To escape the fighter squadrons, we fly down to the planet's surface, weaving through a pod of Purrgil on the way. They aren't spaceships by any stretch of the imagination, but I felt they were worth a mention. Lastly, we see Balans' shuttle deploying troops to look for Ahsoka and company. Episode 4. The episode starts on Ahsoka's downed shuttle. It then cuts back to the Republic fleet, which is composed of the same ships as before, only we also see the Ghost and 5 X-Wings depart for Cetos to investigate the loss of Ahsoka's transmission. On Cetos, the Eye of Sion hangs in the upper atmosphere. We see Balin and Morgan's shuttles in the background as they discuss their navigation plan. You'd think they could have carpooled, as they both came from the Eye. From here, no additional ships are seen, though Morgan's shuttle returns to the Eye just as Phoenix Squadron arrives. They move to attack, but the Eye jumps to hyperspace around them, damaging or destroying 2 of the X-Wings with its gravitational wake. Episode 5. The Ghost and the remaining X-Wings of Phoenix Squadron land on Cetos, where they eventually begin to search the ocean for Ahsoka. We also see the Phantom docked to the back of the Ghost during their search. In the world between worlds, Ahsoka encounters several LAAT-I gunships and AT-TE walkers barely visible in the fog of her memory. After recovering Ahsoka, Huyang brings her shuttle to the staging area so she can get some sleep, after which Ahsoka, Hera, and Phoenix Squadron rendezvous with the pod of Purrgil. Ahsoka and Huyang park their shuttle inside one's mouth to carry them to Peridia in pursuit of the Eye of Sion. I guess Purrgil can be a spaceship after all. They are intercepted by 3 of the New Republic frigates, who narrowly avoid being run over by them and witness their departure. Episode 6. We briefly see Ahsoka's shuttle inside the Purrgil at the beginning of the episode, as is customary. Well, not the Purrgil part, the shuttle. We then cut to the Eye of Sion, which drops out of hyperspace at Peridia, where it deploys Morgan's Nightsister shuttle to carry everyone to the planet's surface. This small triangular craft is a new design for this show, and it appears to take some inspiration from the ornithopters in Dune with its wedge-shaped hull and long wings, though it lacks the Thopter's long tail and distinctive wing flapping. The team then meets Grand Admiral Thrawn's Star Destroyer, the Chimera, which lands on the Nightsister's tower so that he may greet them in the hangar bay. It is looking very rough, with large sections of its hull torn up and repaired with gold. Its 3 main engines are non-functional, and parts are missing off its bridge antenna as well. In its hangars are at least 20 TIE fighters and 8 Imperial LAAT-LE gunships. There are no other ships in this episode, but we see a Noti village which consists of several shell-like motorhomes. Episode 7. The penultimate episode doesn't begin aboard Ahsoka's shuttle, but it does take us there after Hera's hearing on Coruscant. Outside the Senate building, we see numerous repulsor craft and airspeeders, such as one of the many Coruscant hover trains, and several vehicles that resemble the Jedi shuttle bus from Revenge of the Sith. After this, there are no new ships in the episode, but we see the T6, Eye of Sion, Fiend Fighters, and Zombie Chimera again. We also get a better look at the Noti shell cars, of which Ezra has a custom-made larger model, and see Thrawn's LAAT-LE gunships in action. Episode 8. We get no new ships in Episode 8, but the ones we have seen already are used to great effect. The Chimera docks to the Eye of Sion, Ahsoka's shuttle rams 2 TIE fighters and almost catches the departing Chimera, and Ezra steals Balans' shuttle and uses it to reunite with Hera aboard Home 1, mirroring the opening of the season. First Imperial sympathizers pretending to be Jedi boarded a New Republic ship, and now a Jedi dressed as an Imperial stormtrooper boards a New Republic ship. And that's all the ships in Ahsoka Season 1. Let me know which one was your favorite, and if you liked this video, in the comments. I plan to make one of these for every Star War eventually, so subscribe to stay tuned for that. Like I said at the beginning, I've been planning to make this series for a long time, so I'm very happy to have it underway. I think I'm going to progress in release order for simplicity's sake, so expect to see every ship in A New Hope fairly soon. Anyway, I'll see you next week. RFC out.